I will go through the dollar side of things and see what's happening in that department. So where we left off yesterday, I believe price was trading in that area there. And yeah, we didn't really see too much movement, to be honest, with the dollar. For the most part, we were just kind of trading at support. I do still expect to see a lot more downside for the USD. Hence, I'm still looking for a push back into the swing low here, just below 98. So that's still very much the plan there for USD this week, at least for myself anyway. But we are finding support here. We are finding support. We are seeing some rejection that could take us higher. So I did say yesterday on stream that we could be looking for a pullback into this zone, where price might look for another lower high and a continuation. I think if we can look at this from like a 15-minute or an hourly perspective, that does look like a nice zone to be contemplating a short pullback into this area, and then perhaps a continuation. Depends how we pull back, of course, depends how price reacts with that zone, whether it actually does present some nice shorting opportunities or not, which we'll see as price develops. But it does look like support is holding very well here. So I do think we can see potentially some upside there for USD. I do think it will be in the short term though, because as I've just mentioned, I do expect this to be the bigger move for the US dollar. But for now, we are finding support. So I wouldn't be looking for shorts just yet. If we could push higher, find resistance, maybe around 99.4, that could present some nice shorting opportunities, especially intraday, to swing it back into support, excuse me, and then hopefully back into the swing low at 98. So still very much the plan there for the dollar. Again, the overall expectation is that this bearish trend is still very much in full swing of things, and there's no signs of reversal just yet. So naturally expecting us to drift back to the low and eventually break through that support. So looking at EURUSD, pretty much expect the exact opposite. Excuse me. And a swing back into the resistance here, as of course this has a pretty long-term uptrend at play here. Again, no significant signs of reversal just yet, so naturally still expecting price to push higher. I must say though, we are very corrective on the way up, which is not necessarily the healthiest of signs of this trend. You want price to kind of see momentum, similar to this, to show that, okay, the buyers are back in control and the trend is looking healthy again. The fact that we are overly, for the most part, quite corrective. I know we've seen glimpses of momentum, but for the most part, this is a very corrective move to the upside. Does tell me that when we do push back to resistance, if we do, there's a good chance of us finding resistance pretty soon afterwards, whether at the level, maybe slightly higher up, and then we do see some type of pullback. I think we could probably be expecting that to happen, probably same with the dollar as well. But for now, everything is still bullish. We're breaking through structure to our left. We cleared highs there as well yesterday. So again, similar to the dollar, I like this area here as a brief range. Price can tap into that, then use that as support to push higher. So still keep an eye on 1.137, 136. I think that's still a very smart place for a buy, especially if you're looking at maybe like an hourly chart, looking for opportunities in that area. Let me just add a bit of background to that. There we go. So we can see price push into this area, use as support, or an area of demand, of course, same thing really. And then a continuation back into the high at 1.5692. So overall, very, very bullish on Euro. Nice opportunity to keep a lookout. It does line up very well with the DXY as well. I do think further upside is likely the outcome of this week's price action. So still very, very bullish on Euro. Pound USD, bullish as well. I did speak about some pullback opportunities for pound, which look like they are potentially in motion. I still do expect to see a push back to the high there at 1.358 for this week. Again, the overall plan for pound USD is basically as long as we stay above this level on a daily/weekly chart, I remain pretty bullish here for pound. As long as we stay above 1.34, which as of now, that is the case. I was looking for the double bottom this week for price to push back into the low and then a swing to the upside. Unfortunately, that was not the case. But I do like the look of the retest here. I think especially if you like on a maybe 30-minute chart even. Let me drop to the 30. That could present some nice buys. Let's see how this candle does close, but this is a nice zone to pick up some longs. If we could see some momentum and some strength in this candle, I think that could be a nice entry. Or we could perhaps wait for the hourly. I like the wicks we're seeing to the downside there as well. A strong close then the hourly could again take us back to the upside as well. Basically just looking for the break and retest and the continuation of that momentum from the start of the week. So I do think pound's a nice place to pick up some longs. And again, a nice kind of trade there back to the high. How many pips is that? You're looking at about 70, 75 pips to the high. That's a decent trade. Get yourself a 20 pip stop loss. You can be looking at potentially a 1 to 3 there to the high, which of course would be a really nice position. So pound USD buys look good. If we do break below this, then it might just be a deeper pullback, but things get a little bit messy at that point. I would want to see price respect this zone. I still like the looks of the double bottom down here. If price was to have that drive lower, I will still be interested in that big double bottom because it's coming back into that daily zone, but we're still quite far away from that. So I'm not going to pay that too much interest at the moment, but if we do break lower, I'll probably start to discuss that setup in a bit more detail. But for now, expecting a bit of a rally there for pound USD. Dollar CAD, of course, I'm looking at the opposite situation here. I'm looking for dollar weakness, so dollar CAD I do expect to keep falling. We did, in fairness, just about pluck the lows here, which again shows the market's creating new lows. The bearish trend is still alive and well. I did say for a setup for dollar CAD, I kind of would have to wait for price to come back into a zone like this. Brief support, nice push down, a lot of momentum from that area. That would be a nice zone to try and short from, but it just begs the question, will price actually get there or not? No idea. I think if it does get there, great. There could be some nice opportunity. If it doesn't, well, maybe it's just one of those positions which just got away. Because again, you don't want to be chasing the trade, you don't want to be chasing the market. You want the market to come to you. Find your areas which you want to operate in. Wait for the market to get there. Wait for your entry confirmations. And that would be an area which would look good at 1.38. Where the price just kind of rolls over from here. It's up to dollar CAD at the end of the day. But in terms of targets for dollar CAD, I do have this zone here just below price. Again, when we had that brief kind of consolidation, double bottom, and price ripped to the upside, I'm looking for us to come back and retest that same zone. So there's still a little bit more room to the downside for dollar CAD. I think there's a good chance we get there, 1.36 I'll call it. So for now, still expecting more downside for dollar CAD, but would want to see a slightly bigger retracement just to look for opportunities to get in for a short. Aussie dollar, still operating within the channel. Again, not really interested in the current price action. Not a big fan of how we're operating here. Very, very corrective stuff. Again, I've said like a million times now, I'm very bullish on this pair. I like the buying opportunities around 0.625. If we can drop lower, pick up some longs there, and try and catch a major high low, basically the correction of this bullish leg. If I can see price come into a zone like that, perhaps take test the 50 as well. That would be nice, and then pick up some longs from there. That would be my favored swing opportunity. But will we see price make that move? I'm not too sure. I've been waiting for many weeks now, and I'll still continue to wait. As I've said, not looking to trade within this range, within that channel. That's where all the speculation lies. That's where a lot of indecision lies. And there's no kind of consistency to the market there. So I would avoid trading inside that range and wait for price to come back to a more appropriate area like this, where I know potentially buyers can be looking to step in, and that just should be a cleaner buy opportunity in general. We are pretty consistent with the low of the channel, so perhaps there might be some buyers on the low of the channel just to keep finding these higher lows. That could be a nice opportunity, but that's the best I can see really for Aussie dollar in this current price action. So very, very bullish. Whether we continue from the channel or we see that bigger pullback, I'm not too sure, but that will be the opportunity I'm waiting to try and get involved with Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar did see some nice momentum. We did just about break out, but we did break back inside. So that was a little bit A little bit anticlimactic there from NZUSD. Nice breakout, but we did break back inside, which doesn't really mean too much because we could still very much go and break it again. It's not to say that, okay, I'm expecting price to absolutely sell off now. We've had a fake out to the upside. Now expecting price to roll over. That could be the case, but I'm still very much interested in the buys with NZUSD. So I need price to break out again, essentially, and give me a successful retest. Of course, rejections, bullish engulfing candles, wicks, that's what I'll be looking at on the zone. Then yeah, a breaking retest opportunity is something I'm still very much interested in. Of course, with this price action, just kind of prolongs everything. But the buy still stands for NZUSD, still very much bullish on this one. I do think price has a lot more room to the upside to fulfill. But just in terms of finding an entry to try and trade that, originally I was talking about some buys down here. Doesn't look like that's the case anymore. So I'm more going to be fixated on this level, 0.602. So waiting for a strong break, hopefully a pullback at some point this week, and then some buying opportunities from that. I mean, it looks like price is coming back to retest this area here, but because I'll be buying directly into resistance, doesn't make too much sense for me. I'd rather price kind of just clears that level, leaves it behind, and then we find some opportunities off the back of that. So that will be the plan next week for NZUSD. In terms of gold, I'm keeping a close eye on. Possibly a breaking retest opportunity could be forming. It's looking a little bit tight in these areas. I wanted a slightly bigger breakout, to be honest, because I don't want to drop lower than the hourly time frame for an entry. And at the moment, not really seeing one anyway. But for the most part, gold has broken through the channel and has broken through that high. So that's definitely made me officially bullish on gold. Looking for a push back to 3,500, which is basically the all-time high. This is the channel I've been looking at for the past couple of weeks now for gold. We did break out of the channel yesterday, and we cleared that high as well. So I did say yesterday, if we can break through the high, that will reveal to me, okay, gold is most likely bullish now. So a breaking retest would be something I would look at. But the breakout wasn't as big as I wanted it to be. I'm not really seeing sufficient price action in hourly for the breaking retest. But I would also consider this area here as well. It doesn't have to be that high for us to continue. We could drop a little bit lower. Essentially, I just don't want to see price break back inside the channel. So I don't want to see price go and do something like this, because then that would just mean this is a big fake out, and probably at that point I would be bearish again. But for now, we could see a retest of this zone here. Nice consolidation. That's the momentum that started the week. Could see price very much pull back, retest that before continuing, because it looks like this level not really doing it for me at the moment. But the bias is still bullish. It's just that that level probably is not going to be the one that gives us the entry. Hopefully 33.20, 25 could be the level. But expectations now for gold, swing back into highs there at 3,500, and hopefully some new highs as well. But now that we've got the breakout of the channel, I'm expecting the buyers to kind of step in and take price further. Silver as well, impressive breakout to the upside. We saw gold kind of be bullish. Silver joined the party. I did say with silver, I'm just not a big fan of how price is moving very, very sideways, but I do expect price to break higher, and I expect price to go and clear the highs here. And I think if you can clear the highs there at 34.8, there could be some nice buys above that. But at the moment, we're still kind of trading into resistance, so still being a bit watchful of that. But now that we do have support below us, I still think this is a nice place for a buy, especially because we did actually break some structure. We took out this high on the left, which is what I like to see as well. Shows that the buys are really stepping into the market. And I do think if we were to return to retest this zone, there's a good chance we could find support there to rally again. Very, very nice breakout. A lot of momentum in that move. So I think there's a good chance that price will hold support and will likely try and continue off the back of that. And then who knows, maybe we do get the breakout of 34.8 as well.